All right, hello everyone, welcome back for another YouTube video. I'm very stoked again to be pumping this long form content stuff out for you guys, and all the support has been super helpful and inspiring. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Griffin Davis. I'm a local DP based out of New York City right now, and I'm trying to grow, develop, and really get my brain right for being the best cinematographer that I can be, and this is sort of an avenue that I'm doing that through. Now, for today's video, I want to talk about a pre-production process or piece to pre-production that I feel like not a lot of people are capitalizing enough, and then I find I'm missing out on in narrative work. You see, as a cinematographer, I personally find the most confidence in pre-production. I'm a guy who loves structure and a plan, especially when I feel like production is looking at me to have one, confidence, but also a nice solid plan and good direction and leadership on a set. And they'll especially be looking at me if things don't go right or exactly to plan. Now, there's a solid amount of things to worry about on set and pre-production, from talent, food, locations, shots, gear, what have you, all to say you don't want to be worrying about really any of that on actual shooting days, because that just causes delays and stress and, lack of better words, a terrible shoot experience. But dialing into more of my side of what I need to focus on as a DP, working with the director, and one of the bigger building blocks and preliminary processes of pre-production is, of course, the shot list. Now, I know that's a pretty obvious and common thing to worry about when going into pre-production or a film shoot. However, I actually want to talk about something that helps build a shot list and gets you to a point where you have really a nice vision and plan for your overall shoot. Which brings us to our main topic of the video, and that is the lined script. Now, for those of you who have never heard of a lined script or don't know what that process looks like, I can definitely take a second and explain it to you guys real quick. Essentially, this process of creating or lining a script is really not only a fun process in my opinion, but also really helps create the backbone and structure of a good shot list through your mind. So check this out. Let's dive into what a line script looks like. All right, so I created a short little script right here. This is the whole thing. Basically a little scene so we can go through some of the basics of lining a script and show you guys what I'm talking about and how it can be a great tool to help you make a new shot list. So I'll read it through real quick, and then we'll go in and kind of break it down and line it up. So, interior laundromat day. What a classic place everyone wants to film at. Inside a wash machine, clothes slushing around through the glass, sits Tony and Amanda, both watching the wardrobe spin around. Starting with Tony's dialogue. One day I'd hope I get the chance to shrink down really small, maybe swim around in there with the socks. Amanda snaps out of boredom, realizing what Tony just said. She gathers her thoughts. Tony, you don't know how to swim. Tuh, you never support me. My dreams, it's always, that's stupid, or that wouldn't work. Like, gosh, Amanda, I'm human too, you know. Tony takes a big sigh as he's surprised he said all of that. Amanda, unbothered, staring blankly into the washing machine. You can't swim. Tony, in disbelief, looks at Amanda like he's ready to blow. The washing machine beeps and cuts to black. All right, so that was my dyslexic read-through of the script. Now we're going to go in and sort of break it down and start creating lines based on where we want to put shots throughout the script and for our shot list. So starting small, we're going to start with just the action here up top inside the washing machine to spin around. Now, in my head, I definitely thought of a shot where we are inside the washer and we can see, clothes spinning around, what have you, and then through the glass, we see Tony and Amanda sitting, both looking towards the washing machine. So off the rip, that's my first shot, right? And we're gonna start creating a line right here. So boom, that is going to be our first shot, which we can then label. So we'll call it shot one. Now, basically each shot is gonna be a line, and then that line will be a certain length. And however long that length is how long your shot lasts. Now, for this instance, I know for a fact that I'm not gonna go back to that shot and film that anywhere in this script. So we know that it's going to be just that little bit of length. Now, I do know that my next shot will be jumping outside of the washing machine and possibly a nice wide two shot of both our characters, Tony and Amanda. Now, a nice safe thing to do instead of just having a two shot right here is to have one that goes throughout the whole entire script. That way we can go back and forth. Maybe we want to go for a two shot back at the end of the scene, the middle, the beginning, what have you. So instead of just a small little line, we're going to create a line from top to bottom basically, and that will be our next shot. It would be a two shot wide, so we'll just call it 1A. And if you really want, you can label it a wide shot. Now, being this is a dialogue between Tony and Amanda, I definitely want to have sort of their own solo shots, right? So we want a shot of Tony. However, same thing. We don't want to just have a shot for his dialogue here and here. We want something that we can just go back and forth on. Or maybe even we want to see Tony's reaction to what Amanda is saying right here. So we could just stay on Tony for a full shot throughout the entire scene. So we'll give our shot to Tony right here. We'll start right when his dialogue starts and go all the way to the end of the scene as he is looking at Amanda right here. I think that'd be cool to have his look right there. And that is another shot right there, and we'll call that one 1B. Now I'm going over the dialogue, the lines. It's not super perfect. You can go in and organize however you see fit. I want the same thing with Amanda. I think, you know, we want a solo shot of her, especially for when she says you can't swim. I think that's really funny. Maybe it's not as tight as Tony's is, but still a solo shot of her. So I think the same thing, just in case we want her reaction to what Tony is saying. We'll make sure that we get that shot all the way through here, and that'll be one Charlie. Now, something good to do with these sort of solo shots or focusing shots on, you know, Tony's coverage or Amanda's coverage is to make little squiggly lines like this over their specific dialogue for their specific shot. That way it helps the scripty, which I really do encourage bringing on set, as well as an operator, to understand maybe, hey, we're really focusing in on these moments right here. We might get some stuff where they're not talking, but that's our key factors here that we want to make sure that we have. But boom, I hope you guys kind of understand how I'm building this shot list and how I'm seeing this in my mind. Now, to change things up a little bit so it's not super simple, I actually want to flip 180 here and flip the world. So right now we're living sort of like, you know, in front of our characters. I want to flip to behind them. So we're going to do that with a shot down here. I think when Tony sort of gets upset right here and is like, "Tuh, you never support me," I think that'd be a cool time to flip behind the characters and we see Tony like lean in, yelling at Amanda. So I want to start another shot here, and I think you could go all the way to the very bottom, just as it's really short right here. We can get Amanda's last thing and maybe a reaction from behind as well to use in the edit. So we'll make this another shot. That'll be one Delta. See, I'm lettering up, we're making shots, we have a wide, we have two close-ups, we have another wide from behind. And I think that's really good. Maybe we want a super tight of Amanda saying you can't swim, sort of in disbelief of Tony's, you know. So we'll put one more shot, boom, right here. And we'll call that one Echo. And that'll be that one. And then for the last shot, instead of a cut to black, I actually want to cut to the outside of the laundromat. I think it's really fun to kind of jump over. So we're going to make one last bottom shot here, which is one Frank. And so boom, that is sort of the completed scene. We have multiple shots and coverage of our characters, you know, from close-ups to really tights to another angle, and some wide stuff for just like setting the tone and mood of our story. And if you can't see, everything is labeled and ready to put into a shot list then after this. What's really important about this as well, and making sure that we have lines everywhere, and that's really great for the scripty or even yourself, is that we don't have any big gaps where we're missing anything at all. We have a line that covers at least every part of the script. For instance, if we were just at this single first shot and jumped all the way to 1D, we would be missing this entire bit right here, you know, from 1 to D. But we have 1B, 1C, 1A covering all of this. So we know that we're good and we don't have to worry about missing anything. It's awkward going into the edit and you're like, frick, we missed this important dialogue where Tony gets really upset. All right, and just to show, I actually kind of listed out all those shots, and this would be our shot list here. So we have a wide establishing, we have a 2-shot of Tony and Amanda, we have both singles of Tony and Amanda, and then a 2-shot from behind, which is really focused on Tony, and then a tight of Amanda sort of realizing everything, and then we jump to our final shot, which is a wide exterior. Now, boom, I took all of what I thought in my mind and just kind of laid out how long I think that shot should go or where it should go or what it should be, and I created a whole shot list off of that. And not only that, but also gives me an understanding of where those shots live in a story. But all right, there you go. That is sort of the gistful process of what it looks like to line a script and go through a script visually. It can be messy, it can be organizational. I know as an OCD person, I like to go in with lines and a ruler, but you can go in there sloppy, messy. It really gives you freedom, especially when you have pages in front of you to just visually create your story. And as a cinematographer that works a lot in narrative spaces, I freaking love when I'm able to get a line script from a director because it really helps me capitalize in a couple of different ways. Now, one of the most obvious and main reasons that I freaking love a shot list is, as a person that's very visual and has dyslexia, I look at a shot list that's given to me just straight up without me seeing a line script, and there's just lines and lines of scene 22, shot A, sticks, Frank goes down, low angle. Imagine 30 of those lined up in a row, and it's hard to like put my mind around what that looks like. Obviously there are storyboards, that's really helpful, but being able to see a line script helps me visualize where those shots land in the story, but also kind of give me a little bit of insight to what the story looks like, from inserts to over the shoulders and what have you, and I can really understand the flow and visualize the shots and visually within the scene. It also, as a director and for your scripty, which I really do encourage you bringing on set, and as a DP, covers your butt, right? It makes sure that your script has complete coverage throughout the whole story and that you aren't missing any important moments or little moments. It's always the worst feeling when you go into post-production or the edit and you are missing a very, very vital shot or angle, insert, what have you. Lining the script really shows that you're covered in all directions from scene to scene, and that's really valuable because you don't want to be missing anything. And being able to visualize things as a cinematographer, I do believe the director is the one that really should, direct their story and have a shot list and have a vision, because if they don't direct their shots, then what are they essentially directing? Now, I do believe as a cinematographer that you are there to help, suggest shots that might add to the story tonally or transitions, or, be collaborative in a couple ways. But for the most part, I feel like the director should bring their vision, and this is a really good way and tool that they can do that in. But having this line script as a DP, I feel like is a nice insight into really being able to sort of help make those possible tonally notes, right? Seeing the pacing of how many shots are in a scene. Do we have 22 shots? Is it too fast? Or are these edits gonna feel too quick, jumping around? Or should we combine these two, And that helps through going to location and looking at blocking and so forth. But I feel like the line script is the first initial step into me as a DP personally being able to advocate for, tweaking things here and there and working with the director specifically on a couple of shots. Now, all to say, if you can't tell, I really believe in line script, and I think it's a really powerful tool. At first, I thought it was a little gimmicky and why would I do that when I just jump the shot list? But I just feel like this tool really helps you understand your story, right? You're really putting your visualizations onto a paper and getting to see it play out in your brain. And it's just really cool and really helpful, especially to build upon in creating a shot list, right? It goes line script, shot list, storyboard, maybe a previs edit with the storyboards, what have you. But all those things are great individually, but I think they build upon one another. So if you're a director, I really, really encourage you to research this line script process and dive into it, and maybe use it for your next project when creating, your visual plan or ideas. But yeah, thank you guys for watching my little tip of pre-production. And if you made it through the whole thing, thank you. I'm stoked to be doing this long form stuff, like I said earlier in the video. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I think that was all. Also, my shirt, I feel like it didn't look this wrinkled, but on camera it's looking wrinkled. All right, later guys.